Hi guys, I was just going to say good morning, but it might not be good morning for you, so good day. I'll say good day. Today I thought we'd do, I did a bit of resin in the other day, making some little resin pieces, and I thought I'd use my resin moulds with clay just to show you that you can use them. And I'd do a bit of scrap busting because I've got these scraps here. They were all in a big ball. I've just sliced them ready to go in. And I've got, this is just translucent silver, hematite, black, some more scraps there. And this is just black hematite and silver, and there might be a little bit of concrete in there as well. So I'm just going to bust these scraps, but first I just want to talk to you about using moulds in the oven. Now these are some of the moulds I use with resin. These are just little geometric shape ones, like that. This is just a nice circle one. Got this one which makes lovely square beads. This one which you pour one colour in and then you pop that out and put it in there and put another colour in, so you get pretty patterns. This one's just makes things look like a stone. Same with these are just little pendant ones. And of course you've got moulds that are specifically made for use with clay, like this is a Sculpey one, and this can go in the oven. I think people get a few mixed messages about what you can put in the oven and what you can't put in the oven. As you can see, I've used that one, those three. Can you see how they're tinged a bit yellow compared to those? I don't know if you can make it out. There you go. That's a bit yellow. That's because it's been in the oven. But all these sort of, if it suits, I think, as long as it's silicone based, so it's, you know, a squishy mould, and excuse me, and you've used resin in it, 2-part resin, you know, the one that gets warm, then you shouldn't really have an issue with these going in the oven, because if you've done anything pretty substantial in resin, you know, I'm talking about the 2-part resin, by the way guys, you'll know that it gets really bloody hot while it's curing. And I know for a fact my son and my husband have done resin tables and they've cracked because they've poured it too thick and it's got too hot, and it's cracked it while it's been curing. So I think personally that if it's suitable for resin and it's a silicone style mould, or obviously it says can be baked, then you shouldn't have an issue with them going in the oven, not for the temperatures that we use. I would still tent, I would still do the usual things you do, you know, you're just using this as a vessel to keep the shape, aren't you? But they're my views guys. A lot of people out there say, oh no, you shouldn't. I've been doing it for ages and, you know, no problem. I've never had anything break or crack or break down on me. I must have had this mould now for a good 3 years, you know, and apart from it looking a bit yellow, same with this one, it's perfectly fine, and these have all been in the oven. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that guys, and if you're at all concerned, you know, I mean, these are pretty cheap off AliExpress and stuff. Buy 2, put 1 in the oven and see what happens. Worst that's going to happen is it's probably going to melt a bit, you know, we've all burnt clay. Burnt clay is probably a hell of a lot worse than scorching one of these in the oven. You know, just a bit of common sense, I think, is needed. But anyway, lecture over. I got on my little high horse then, didn't I? Right, so today we're going to bust some of these scraps. I'm going to put a little bit in here, and then maybe put some resin in that one. I've got a little bit of concrete left over from the last video I made, so I'm going to make a little concrete stone with that one. I'm not going to use any of these other ones. I'm just going to put them to one side. I'm going to make some little cubes. I thought I could make a pair of earrings and then string some on a wire. They'd make a nice necklace and a good way to use your scraps up with beads. And I might make a couple of cabochons. We'll see how much we've got. So I'll go and give these a bit of a squish and get some banding going. Same with this, I think. And then we'll come back and, excuse me, I've just had a latte and it is really repeating on me. Shouldn't have had so much milk in one go. So excuse me if I'm a little bit windy today. Right, I'll go and get this done and I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, I've just put them through a couple of passes just to give my brain, just to merge the colours a little bit. Of course, because we're stuffing them in a mould, they're just going to come out as they come out, like funky beads. First I'm just going to do this rock with some of this concrete colour. I forgot to warm this up a bit, so I'll just hold it in my hand a second, and I'm just going to get some of my flakes and I'm just going to pop a few onto the sides of the mould, just to add a bit of interest. And I'll probably wire wrap this. I might actually do it, I'll speed it up, but I'll show you what I do with some pendants. We'll see. Right, that's warmed up a fair bit, and I've just got a little baggie with some flakes already in it, and I'm just gonna pop a few flakes into my mould. A good thing with this is it's static, works with you, so it keeps it in the bag and it keeps it in the mould. I don't want to put too much in, just a nice little, oh, I'm going to put that with my finger because it's not sticking. Just a few little smatterings. Oops, that bit's a bit too big. Oh, see what I mean? Static, it just clings to the mould straight away, which works when we're doing stuff like this, doesn't it? Put that bit there. Let's get this bit off and just drop it in, because I don't want too much, just a little inkling, and I'll just pop a little bit down there as well. Just to add a bit of interest, really. And how I like to fill these moulds is kind of just flatten myself a piece out, and I tend to use the end of this, so I can pop a piece in the bottom, and then I can make sure that it's got into every little nook and cranny of the mould by pushing this in like so, and then just keep adding pieces till it's full. And some moulds are a bit more difficult because they misshape, while you're working on them. This one being one of those, but once you've got it full, it kind of sorts itself out, if that makes sense. And this is a good way to make sure you've not got any little air pockets trapped inside. If I just look on the other side, I can see generally if there's any bubbles or anything. There we go. Let's just start pressing it down now with my thumb, because it's getting quite full. Just making sure I've got up into all the little bits. And we're nearly full now. Let's just get this last bit in. Oh, making everything rattle. And that is quite full. So I'm just going to get my roller and roll over the top. I know I'm distorting it, but you'll see method in my madness in a second. It just gets the back nice and smooth, and then you can reshape it and it'll just go back to its proper shape. And I always pull it away from the edges a little bit. Just give that bit of rub to blend that little seam bit in. And I'm just going to turn it over and press it. Now I've got a bit of a divot still in the middle, so I just need a teensy bit more clay to go in. And this souffle is quite a soft clay, so it's quite easy to mould it around. There we go. I'll just give that a roll over to smooth it. Get rid of that divot. And that should do us. So that's, oh, I've just got a bit of overspill there. I just give it a little roll to make sure there's the back's pretty smooth. And I'll pop that one to one side now, ready to go in the oven. Let's get rid of this grey. And then I'm just going to use this little piece here. Can you see how deep it is? And that sits in, when it's cooked, you turn it round, and then you can you know, put resin or whatever on the other side. So I think, let's try and find an interesting piece. Maybe some of this with the translucent in will be good. And I'm just going to tear a bit off to push in the bottom. And again, I'll use my stick. Sorry guys, I have to keep clearing my throat because that flipping latte's playing havoc. I knew I shouldn't have had it when I made it, because sometimes it's too much milk and it disagrees with me a little bit. Is that all pressed in the bottom? I think it is. Just going to keep adding pieces now guys till it's full, making sure I've pushed it right down into those little pieces. This might give us quite a nice striped effect actually, the way I'm doing it. like a stripy bit of stone. And can you see it's bulged a little bit, but you can just give it a squeeze when you've done and it'll sort itself out. Let's get a bit of black going, because there seems to be a lot of the other stuff going in. I'm just going to pack some in and get it pushed down. I think I'll just give that a squidge to get it back to its proper shape. Give us a roll. May need to cut a little bit off this top, may have overfilled it. I find it quite therapeutic, this, you know, just poking and rolling. Just checking the shape again, guys, that it's not distorted. And I am going to slice a little bit off the top. Just be careful with your blades. Sometimes they dig into the silicone. You can see on my Sculpey one where I've dug in with my blade by accident. It's just a little bit in that corner that hasn't quite reached. There we go, and I'll just smooth it away from the edges, give it a little roll, check it's not bulging, and then we'll pop that with the other one ready to go in the oven. Now these cube ones, quite easy to fill. You've just got to, I was going to cut these off and then just drill my own holes, but they do actually come in handy on this one. I have cut them off on a few moulds I've got like this where they've got them in. I've actually snipped them off. I'm not keen on them for clay, but with this shape it works really well. And this one I think I'll use the silver, and there seems to be more black at that end, so I'm just gonna trim some of that black off first and get it into one end. And I do the same thing with this really, except I make a bit of a sausage first and just do that, like make a donut, and I can drop it over the hole. And again, just pushing it to make sure it's got into those corners. Oh, and the good thing about using these shiny silicone moulds is it leaves the surface of the clay amazingly smooth. So apart from this top edge, you barely need to do any finishing, which is a bonus in my book. And I'm just going to do 5 because I'm going to make a pendant. In fact, let me just do these while I'm here. I'm just going to make a pendant, and I always try and use odd numbers, so I'll use 3 as a pendant and 2 for earrings. And I just think they might be quite interesting with these marbled scraps. Just pop you in there and get one with a bit more black on, just to have a little bit of uniformity, guys. I'm not too fussed because it's all the same sort of colours throughout, isn't it? But And of course, I'm not going to fast forward this, guys. I'm just going to do it while we're chatting. But feel free. I won't be upset if you fast forward this bit. And I'll just pull the thing up to make sure that it's still central and I've not done something dodgy with it. And just making sure that clay's pushed really well into the corners. And it, like, well, it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? But with these moulds, you know, I could just make a really nice square sausage and cut chunks off, couldn't I? But I just enjoy doing this. Just make sure that that's into that corner. All my corners are poked. And I will just check my bottoms, make sure I've not made them bulge. Again, these aren't too bad for that. Some of the other ones you've got to be a bit more careful. Right, I'm just gonna keep that to one side. Just cut myself some strips off this for my rolling my sausages. And I think that'll be easier to get in if I just do this. That'll blob in. Get in. Da, da, da. Get in. And just pull your doodah every now and again, just to make sure you've not gone off kilter with it. I think this will make some interesting beads with the shape and the colour. I don't know what's going on with this one, but it's, there we go. And the good thing about mushing as well is it sorts, you know, your colours out. It makes them more blended. Little gap in that corner there. Nearly there, guys, nearly there. Bet you're losing the will to live, aren't you? I'm waiting for the first person who moans about my bracelet making a noise on my glass mat. How are they looking? Okay. Right. In you go. Right, I am going to pause it here, guys, and just go and get it done because I didn't realise it'd take this long, and I don't want you all to lose the will to live. I'll come back when I've got them filled and I'm just smoothing them off. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay guys, they're all full now. I'm just gonna roll over the tops, get them reasonably flat. This one might need a little bit more in. And I'm just gonna rub my finger because there's a couple of In fact, let's do that. Yeah, I'll just squish them to make sure that the cube shape is cube shaped. As they do bulge a tiny bit, these, but not normally too bad. There we go. Right, let's sort these out. Oh. I'm not going to worry too much about this end on these because I'll probably sand them as long as they're relatively level. I'm not worried. Just making sure there's no bits hanging over. Right, they can now go to one side for baking. Just making sure there's no bulges in them. And they seem fine. Right, they'll go for baking as well. And what else have I got? Maybe do a couple in these. Maybe do a couple of donuts. They might look nice. Let's see. What have we got? This nice marble in here. Oh, just going to cut myself a strip of that out. Fold it over a little bit and feed it into this donut. And quite like the marbling on the bottom of this one. Let's see if we can get these two to join together. Just so it looks a bit more seamless. And I'll pop that into there like so. I'll just fold the bits in and cut the excess off in a sec. I'll just give this a push into the mould with my stick to get it going, and then just use some of this scrap to fill it up. I'm not too worried about what the backs look like, but it's nice if they're reasonably okay, pattern wise I mean, guys. Right, that's that one. Let's get this excess cut off here. Oh, back in you go. Oh, look at that. Just give this a little roll. That needs a bit more of something in there. Let's pop that bit in because it kind of matches. Still needs a bit more. Look at that. A bit like Makumigani, isn't it? Let's just slice a bit of this off for the back. over sliced it, I think, guys. Couldn't really see what I was doing, could I? Right, that's in quite firmly now, I think. So I'll just slice the top off and try not to cut into my mould. Again, I'm just dragging my fingers along the edges just to make sure it's got a nice finish on it. And I think this could do with a bit of a trim too. Now I'm going to bake these in the mould rather than force them out. Might make a little, see if I can stretch this piece out with the stripes. Looks a bit like wood. Look at that, isn't it lovely? Stretch it out for this. Trying to get it in a way that it fits the mould. Oh, I just tore it there. That'll do. Just pop it in and fold them edges in on themselves. Make sure that's pressed down nicely, and I'll just fill up the back with a few scraps. Oh, did that one okay. I don't like leaving any bits. I've got anything interesting going on. Bit of a stripe. Let's pop this stripe into here. I'm just putting these two edges together again, guys, just to make a bit of a band. Get that crumb off. Into there. Oh, how was that for a bit of guesswork? Just need to trim a little bit off. Right, that's enough faffing from me. Let's pop all these in the oven. And then we'll come back and do something with some of them. And these bits can go back in my scraps. Right guys, so we've got some pendants, some cube beads, my little concrete one, and this little one which I'm going to do with some resin, and I'll show you later. Right, I'll pop these in the oven and I'll see you shortly. Hi guys, right, these are all out the oven. They're still a little bit warm, not scalding, just warm, but I didn't want to demold them. I thought I'd do it with you. So this is the concrete one, and there's the concrete stone, pebble, whatever you want to call it. I quite like doing this one that way up and doing a bit of wire wrapping on it. I've decided while everything was in the oven, what I would do is I'll make the necklace and the earrings with you now, and then I'll do something with all of these and film an extra video, or it's just going to be way too long. So yeah, so here's the cubes, and they come out dead easy. Just pop them out, and you can see they're so smooth. You know, they just need a bit of buffing. Obviously I've got to sand that edge a little bit, but I'll just get all these out and then I'll put them that way because that's the way they're going to be seen. And as you can see, the mold's perfectly fine. I just give them a quick rinse in hot soapy water. So these are our scrap beads. They all look pretty much the same because we layered up similar bits, didn't we? I'll just give you a quick view of them all. Oh, looks like there's a bit of copper got in that one. Not to worry. And this one. So there we go, they're the beads. I'll just pop them to one side and I'll just demold these, and you can see I cooked them for 40 minutes just because they're so, you know, some of them are quite thick. And that's the end of that one, which what I will do is pop that in there and then fill the rest of this with resin, and they just make an interesting pendant. So I'll leave that one there. Obviously I showed you the stone one. And these are the Sculpey ones, and they look quite funky, and they all demold really well. The only thing with this Sculpey mould that I don't like is that you get a smooth surface but you don't get a shiny surface, just because of the nature of the mould. In fact, that looks like it's crackled a little bit where it's been overstretched, but once it's been buffed and there's a bit of varnish gone on it, we won't see that. But yeah, there's a few pendants we can play with. But yeah, let's go back to these. Right, what I'm going to do is off camera I'm just going to flatten these edges off and give them a bit of a buff, and then we'll come back and do something with them. I've got some memory wire out for a necklace, and I've got 2 of those ear wires that I like using. and I've got some spacer beads out and stuff, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'll worry about that once I've sanded them. So I'll go and sand these guys, and I'll be back in a sec. Hi guys, all lovely and buffed and shiny. Right, I've laid out how I'm going to put these onto the wire. So I've just got my wire here, and I'm going to do a little silver bead and then a little silver tube, just to break, because the squares are quite big. I just wanted to break them up a bit. That's one. Two. Oh, went all croaky then. Oh, I had a couple of Rennie while these were in the oven. I feel a bit better now. Need to avoid having lattes in the morning, I think. Oh, nearly there. Last section. Oh, thought there was something up with that bead then, it wasn't for going on. Now on some necklaces I like to use crimp beads to stop the beads moving around, but with the weight of these I don't really need to worry about it. So that's the necklace. Just let me find a bit of white paper, then you can see better on the black, guys. So that'll be my necklace, with those spacer, with those bars on. Quite funky looking, isn't it? I'll finish these off on off camera, love. My God, what am I talking about? I'll finish these off camera. I'm just going to curl the ends, and I'll just put a lobster clasp and a jump ring on. Just do a really simple fastening for them. So that's the necklace, and then I picked these two because the holes are just a bit off center. Don't know if you can see, there you go. So I've decided I'm going to put that at the bottom, and it'll just make the earring hang off center, if that makes sense. And all I've got now is a ball pin, which I'm just going to thread a bead on and then pop through like so, and I'll just do the other one. And the same with this one. So that's just got a bead on the bottom with the ball pin, and I'm just going to curve my tops and attach them to my ear wires. What I like to do is bend the pin over. I'll just grab my snips, guys. It's the only thing I didn't get off my little rack. And I need about 1 centimetre, so I'll just snip about there. And the same with this one. Just bend it right over and snip about there. And now I've got a couple of different pliers for making hoops. These ones that have got a curved tip on the end. These ones are the classic ones I think everybody uses. but I quite like just using my round nose pliers to do it. I suppose it's, you know, it's what suits you when you're doing stuff, isn't it? I'm just gonna, oh, would help if I, why is it not curling? I'm having one of those moments, guys. Try again. I might have to redo this one. It's just wiggling around too much on me. That's better. There, got my eye on the end now. I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit because I've lost my curve a little. There we go. One on there. I think it's because I'm trying to do it for the camera and I'm not getting the right angle of dangle. There we go. That one's a bit better, although it's not perfect. Let me just tuck that end a bit. There. And all I've done with the ear wires is I've just popped another little bead on, just to jazz it up a little bit. And I'll just hold that bead out the way while I'm doing it. Give that a little bend. Hook my earring on. Twist it back. Give it a squidge. Oh, and there's one earring. I will take some nice photos, guys, so you'll be able to see properly. And the same on this one. I'll just hold the bead out the way. A little twist. Pop my earring on. Turn it round. Twist that back. Give it a little squidge. And there's our other earring. So there you go, guys. I will oh, it's got twist. There it is. It had got a bit twisted. So we've got some funky cube earrings and our matching necklace. I will I'll wire wrap this and I'll do something with this. I'm not going to worry about the other little bits. I'll probably just use them as fillers for things, guys, because the surface isn't that good on them. They've cracked a little bit. But yeah, great for scrap busting, and you know, the beads look really funky, don't they? I'll just show you now that they're shined up. You know, you've got just those little bands that have bled into each other a little bit faux stone looking, I suppose, but not truly. Right, guys, I shall leave you to it. In the next video I'll wire wrap this and I'll show you this when it's done. Okay, guys, see you soon. Thanks for watching.